Today we're going to be installing one of the coolest mods that you can do on your C6 from Extreme Online Store.
Hi guys, I'm Donna Marie and you're watching the Corvette channel.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott and today I'm going to be showing you one of the most awesome mods that you could do to your C6. Extreme Online Store came out with two different versions of headlights for your C6, okay? And I got to tell you that these right here, these are the C8 inspired lights for the C6, and then they also came out with a C6 look-alike basically from the original lighting that is HID, and so at a fraction of the cost also, okay? There's so much to tell you about these. These are my favorite, obviously. I have a C8. I totally love the C8 lighting, and here in a second I'm going to show you how these look. But I want to just kind of go over everything. I'm going to put up a picture of what these look like right up here, and I'm also going to put up a set of the C6 style lights. Now, the C8 light here, this is the way it comes. It's one option, and it's just the way it is, okay? But the C6 version light, the look-alike, you can get it in all the different colors, right? But those lights are being phased out by General Motors, and they're really not available anymore. And if they are, if you can find a set, they're extremely expensive. And so Extreme Online has come out with a HID version where those lights are super, super bright, and they look just pretty much just like factory. So I'm going to show you a picture of those too. And again, like I said, at the fraction of probably both lights for the cost of what one light would cost used in the market nowadays, okay? But for right now, since we've got this one done, and I'm going to be showing you how we installed it and how we take everything apart to put them in, and this installation will be exactly the same for either the C8 style or the C6 style, okay? So, but take a look at this. The light's off right now. Now, this has a really cool animation, and if I could get my C8 to do this, I'd be a happy camper, trust me. So take a look at this. I'm going to stand out of the way here real quick so you guys can see it. So there you go. That is the animation for the startup feature. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to turn the lights on. Let me see if I can get them on there and see how bright those things are. They are super, super bright, and they look awesome, right? So there you have it. These things they're beautiful, and they look really cool, and at a fraction of the cost that you would normally be paying for them. So, and like I said, I'll be putting it up on the screen here so you can see what the C6 version looks like, but you can get it in all the different colors. So sit back and relax, and I'm going to show you how you install them. All right, guys, we are under the hood, and what we've got to do is we've got to take the front bumper cover off to be able to get to the lights, okay? So when you're sitting here looking at the side fender here, you're going to see a screw here. It's a 15 torque screw. And if we were just taking the bumper cover off, then we would only have to take that one screw off, and then the ones up in front. But since we're going to end up having to lift this fender up a little bit to be able to get the clearance for the headlight to come out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our 15 torques here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these screws out. Now, I'm going to leave all but one here in a second I'll show you if I can get this to go. We're going to go ahead and pull this one here. That one. Pull this one right here. And then we're going to pull this one right here. That leaves us one more that we're not going to pull. And the reason for that is that will keep the fender in its exact place, and we won't have to worry about trying to realign everything, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna walk over there and pull those off, and we'll see if we can just keep the camera going here. There we go. And we've got one more over here. Wow. There we go. I'm going to set those screws up here on the cowling so that we don't lose them. Okay, now coming back over here, we're going to go to a 7mm socket, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull these screws right here. There's one here, one here, one here, one there. Now, these may be, depending on the different year, these may be a different, they might just be push clips. And I'll show you what I'm talking about there, because the fender on this one has the push clips. All right. So that one's a little too much of an angle. So we're gonna go ahead and you can either use a socket or you can use an adapter, an angle adapter, which I'm gonna go ahead and use here. So it just goes in like that and allows me a little smaller clearance here. Okay, we'll do it that way. Okay, we'll pull that one out of the way, put that over here. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, and then we've just got one more. I'm going to set that one up there on the cowling. Do this one more like so. Okay, so now we've got our screws on the top side loose. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to close the hood, not all the way, but we're just going to lower it down. Okay, so that way I don't stick the hood up into the ceiling on the car. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to lift it up now. Okay, so all I'm going to need, actually I'm not going to need any of this because we're going to use, it's going to be some 10mm bolts down there and possibly some 7mm. So we'll take my gun up there with me. But let's go ahead and let's raise the car. All right, so now we've got it raised up.
Save $12,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. $12,000 off new Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
All right, guys, we are under the car, and you can see here that we're gonna we've got to take some trim bolts loose here. Let me see if I can come across. There's some 7mm screws that are like right here underneath this trim, and it's going to end up taking this piece off. So there's like 3 of those. Then right here where my finger is a 10mm bolt right there that we'll be pulling off right there. So we'll be pulling that. Then we'll do that up on the other side. And then there's a 7mm right here, as well as right up here. They're tucked away. This one's actually in pretty good shape. It's actually, I've seen some that are pretty jacked up. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take these little guys loose, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We're gonna start here. Okay, a little deal. Okay. There's that. And then this one has a little pressed-in tool here, which we can use a nylon pry tool to go ahead and pop that free. Or you can, if you don't want to do that, you can take the whole unit off. Okay. This is just a pressed-in deal, just like that, and we'll set that one down. Okay. We're going to do the exact same thing on this other side. And I seem to have the drops today, guys. And then that little clip that we had on the other side isn't on this one, it's missing. So when I go to put it back together, I'll probably put a new one in. Okay. Then what that does, that really reveals another screw right here. So we're going to go and take that one out. Okay. And I think that frees that. All right, then we'll take our 10 millimeters loose. That's just a nut. Throw that in our pile. Same thing on this side. Okay. And at that point, these will start, you should be able to pull these down. That'll free up. That's freed up. I almost forgot about these 7 millimeters in here. They're right here. Okay, there's one up over here. Okay, one right here. One right here. And one more right here. All right, guys. So normally you would have, you can see right here, there is a little press-in clip right here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull that one out right now. Okay, let me set my tool down. Normally you would have those all the way along here, but this customer happens to have a bra. So so we're just going to have just this one, and then the rest of them are regular Phillips screwdrivers, or screws. So we're going to pop this one out. We might need a screwdriver. Help us along the way here. But you're just going to get underneath the tab. It's just going to pull out, so we'll set that down. Now we should be able to get underneath there. I think you guys are being able to see this. And make sure. Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pull this little tab out. Okay, so we'll pull it out like so. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and undo these screws here. Now these would be these plastic clips, or 15 Torx, depending on which year car you have. But this has been adapted because of the bra, like I was saying. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll pull these little guys out. All right, we'll set those off to the side. Now you can see here, there's more clips right here. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pull these. Normally you really wouldn't have to. You'd be able to reach up in there and get to the 10 millimeter bolts that hold the, there's one right here and there's one right here that holds the bumper together. but I want you guys to be able to see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take those loose also, okay? So we're gonna get, like I said, we're gonna get up in here and we'll pry these little guys open. And we'll do that with a screwdriver at first to get them started. The one thing I didn't mention, of course, which is pretty obvious, the wheels are off. You're gonna need to do that too. Okay. Got those. Okay, and make sure that the center of those clips will come out, so you don't want to lose them. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this little guy. I think I might have pushed that one right back in place. I did. Okay. Pull that center out of that pin out of it. You can see right here that this piece will actually separate from there. Pull this one out, and there we go. Okay. So now, once we do that, we can effectively start to look inside here. Okay, now let me see if you guys can actually see this. I think you guys can. Right here, yeah, you can see my finger. Right there is, that is one of the 10mm screws that actually holds the headlight in place. But there's one that looks just like it, and it's located right there. I've got my finger on it right there. Gonna be almost impossible for you to see that. There's also one right here where my finger is at also. So they're right there, real easy to get to. Okay, so now that we've got our trim loose, I've pulled this free, pulled it back so you can see up in here, and then we'll go back to the other camera. But I want to be able to see or show you the bolts. Okay, so there's one right there, and there's one right there. Okay, you can see it right there. Those are 10mm screws. We're gonna take those two out, okay? So now we're gonna take our 10mm socket. I just showed you guys the two bolts here. So I wanted to show you that because I knew my head was gonna be in the way. But we'll go ahead and we'll get these two bolts free. Okay. So it's not real hard. Oh, man, I just have the drops today. All right, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my extension off and I'm gonna put this in here like so to get this bolt. Okay, we'll get that started, and then I think I should be able to reach up there and twist it out. So these bolts over time, they may have rusted. These are not, thank God, but they may have rusted, so you may be having to fight this a little bit with a ratchet, but these are coming off really good. A little bit of gravel in there. But we're gonna go ahead and pull that nut down, and I'll see if I can get that other nut back out of there so I don't lose that one. Okay, now the only thing that we have left is we've got our light right here. Now these are aftermarket lights, and we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and pop this one out so you can see. But normally this little clip right here would be attached to your side marker if it's still a factory side marker, but it's not. But not a big deal. We'll separate it like this. Okay. Now again, this one, some of these connectors are a turn and lock, and some of them are a press in. So it just depends on what you're going to have there. Okay. All right, so we're going to take that loose. Now, this side is pretty much free, okay? So now all we got to do is we got to go to the other side. I'm going to do that, and we'll repeat the process over there. And then we'll move the car back down and we'll be able to start taking the bumper free. All right, we've got the screws out of the bottom, we've got the screws out of the fender wells. Now we can go ahead and we can drop the car back down and we'll see if we can get the front bumper off. All right, guys, we're here and we're about ready to go ahead and we're going to pull this loose. Okay, so you can see I've got the tape on both sides and you're just going to basically pull this up. Now you can use a pry tool, but you're getting underneath here. There's a little metal, or not metal, but there are little plastic clips right here. You're gonna kind of pry that up and you can see how the bumper kind of lifts up there. We're going to do that on the other side too. Just like so. Let's see if I can get my tool up in there. And we'll pop that up. You can see how that popped up. Okay. So now, really, the only thing that's holding this bumper on, or should be holding this bumper on, is these two clips right here. So I'm going to try to see if I can get that to pop up. Just like that, and see how that came free. And over here the same way. Now, I have seen these, this one just came loose nice and easy too. I have seen them be very tough, and you don't want to really go after them real hard. Use some finesse and they will come out, okay? But if you just reef them out of there, you can break that little clip and they're a little pain in the butt to get, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lift this up. I'm just gonna kind of get that, and see I'm just kind of lifting the bumper up off this edge. Okay, I'm gonna put that down like so. We're gonna lay this hood down with it propped like so. And that might be too high still. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lay this down like that. And that will give us a little bit of clearance here across the top. Okay? And then we should be able to go ahead and be able to pull our bumper up. Just like that. Okay? And then these little guys should come down. Okay. There's that. And like this. There we go. And those will come kind of outward like this, allowing for the bumper to slide off. Alright guys, so I came into a little bit of a snafu here. So the bottom splitter, it was originally riveted onto the bumper and onto that inner trim. So I don't want to take that all apart. So basically what I'm going to do is I've pulled the bumper out, I've propped it out of the way, and I've wrapped it with towels here on each corner. And I've put a couple boxes out here to just kind of pull this away so I can get in here and do the headlight. I just don't want to have to take everything apart to be able to do this, okay? You, by now, if you would have followed my instructions, the bumper would have just came right off if you didn't have these rivets in there. But anyway, what we're gonna do is I'm going to act like the bumper was off. And this way, because normally it would have just have come off right now. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my 15 Torx here, and I'm going to pull that free. So let me get that. Okay, there's a 15 Torx right here. You're going to have to pull that little guy out. Okay, and then we'll be able to put that one over there. Now we'll be able to lift this fender. You can see right there. So now underneath there are 3 10mm nuts that holds these together, and you can reach up through the wheel well here, and I'll try to get a picture of those underneath with my phone, okay, with the other camera here. See if I can put that together. So let me see if I can get those. Alright, so looking at one right there, I'll try to see if I can get the light to light up everything here. Alright, so we're looking at, there's one bolt right there, okay, and then there is two more, and you can see one of them right there, and the other one I think is like right over in this corner here. Let me feel up there and see. So there's one right in the very front, right there. There's one right up here. I can't get my hands up in there. Once I get the camera or the unit out, then I'll be able to show you. Let's see here. Very tight quartered, guys. We'll get them though. Okay. All right. So here's one. The other three off. We've got the fender one loose. We've got the two lights, two for the light, and then we've got one more that's, there's a little hole that's up inside the plastic. So there's a round hole about this big, and that's where that light, the other bolt goes through. So we're going to take that loose. We've got that. So now our light should be free. Okay, and it is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to lift this up. So this way our fender will kind of come up and out, and we should be able to, we're going to have to pry this up a little bit, and I'm going to lift this whole assembly up just a little bit here. Okay, just like this. We're going to lift that up. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can put this roll of tape up in here to prop it open for me. Okay, then I'm going to wiggle the light out. It's just got to clear the screws. So again, guys, I preach to you all the time, finesse. That's what you're going to have to do here. Okay, you can see it's loose. We just got to get it so it's going to come free. Okay, and it's coming. You just don't want to chip the fender, you know, the paint on the fender or anything like that. Okay, but there we go. You can see it just came right out. And then we've got a couple different plugs here that we're going to have to take free. So be careful. Take that one loose. Okay, and then this one right here. That's just a press and turn. There's a little clip right here that just kind of holds it in place. We're just going to pop that off. Okay, there we go. And we'll set that off to the side here. Okay, so now we've got that free. We'll set this down. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to pull the light out. Okay. And we'll set it off to the side. So now we've got our new light. Okay. And it hooks up very similarly, but it's already got its lights and everything ready to go. Alright guys, so now we've got our little adapter that we've got to do, but we've got to get this wiring harness off. So you're going to take a screwdriver, and you've got this little gray clip here. You're going to move this little clip. It's going to kind of pry it out of the way. Don't lose it, but you're going to pry it out. This is the safety lock to make sure that the headlight doesn't come unplugged. Okay. So we're going to unplug that here in a second, if I can get that to play nice. Okay, just like that. Okay, we'll set that to the side there just for a second, and I should be able to press this pin down and then pull it loose. Okay, just like that. So then we'll set that harness off to the side, put it back in the box. And then we've got a 5-pin which matches up with this one here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of dielectric grease. I'm going to put a little dielectric grease here into the socket. Just because we've pulled this connection apart. It's probably never been apart since the car was new. And so this way it will help keep the connection good. Go ahead and we'll plug that in there. Okay, and then we'll be able to put our lock back in place. It's like that. All right, so now that we've got our harness in, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to put our light in. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and we'll plug it in. I think you guys can see all this, yeah, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and plug that in. Just like so. Okay. Okay, so now that we've got it plugged in, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the little black caps off the threads here. Okay, see if we can get those to come off. You won't be needing those anymore. Then you want to take the nuts off. Okay. There we go. Now I'm just going to set these off to the side here so I don't lose them. Then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to slide this little guy in. Now be careful not to scratch the paint. Okay, just take your time and she'll slide into place. Okay. So you just have to wiggle them around so you get them where they belong. Alright, that looks like that went in pretty good. Okay. Alright, so now we can pull this protective film off. Okay, and then we can go ahead and we can take our tape piece out here and we can let the fender come down to rest. Okay, now it looks like it's going to fit pretty good. Right, but I'm just going to set this off to the side here. Now, you got our one screw here that we have that we're gonna make sure that everything lines up. Okay, and that looks like we're gonna be able to center that once we get everything put back together. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put the screw back in here. We'll put that little screw right back in here. Okay. All of our other screws are lining up right where they needed to be. Okay. So now we've got to make sure that we've got a nice gap here everywhere, right? And that it's going to line up all the way around, and that black rubber seal fits the fender. Okay. So we've got that, okay? So now once we've done that, we can go over to the other side, and then when we're done, we'll be able to snap the bumper back on, and then we can do the final adjustments with the bolts, okay? So I went on the other side off camera and I finished the other side. And so what we've got is we've got our 3 bolts here, our 3 nuts that we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put on here. Now what I'd like to do to get these lined up, to get them exactly where we need them to go, is we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this bumper. We're going to pull the trim out of here, get this box out, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the bumper in place. And by doing that, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to get this light centered exactly where we want it, and then we'll put our nuts on, okay? So I'm gonna set the nuts right here, and I'm gonna go ahead, you notice I've got this covered. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull this free because I don't want it to hit the bumper. And we're gonna go ahead and tuck that down, okay? And we'll get that over there like that. Now we're gonna lift the bumper up to put it back in its place. Okay, just like that. We'll get these started. Now, like I said, you won't have to fight it as much, guys, if you don't have the front splitter on it, because this will have already just gone, you would have just been able to take the bumper completely off. But I'm just adjusting it on both sides here to get this to go up and over. Now, again, we need to set this hood down. Okay, so we'll go there, and now we'll be able to get the bumper to go up over that lip. You saw how it went right in there. I'm gonna pull this other towel out of the way, and we'll get those bolts started. Okay, now we've got it pretty much where it needs to go. Now we can go ahead and we can push our tab in. Okay, so lift up. Okay, get our little rubber in there, and you could use a nylon pry tool again for this, or you can use your fingernails, whatever you want. I'm just making sure that there's just no clearance issues when we go to put the bumper down all the way. Okay, just like that. Just be real careful, because like I said, I don't want to chip the paint. Okay. Just like that, we're almost there. There we go. Alright. So that's in there. We're just going to kind of push this down a little bit. Okay. And then, like I said, there's this little black clip in here, and you'll see how it goes in. It just goes, it will just snap right in there. It's kind of spring loaded. So I'm just going to lift the bumper up just a little bit to get it to go in. Right, now the hood should come up now. It's still not quite enough. We're going to have to get this to go in a little bit better. There we go, just like that. Okay, and then there we go. There's that one. And we'll get this one to go too. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, guys. There's this, it's just got like a little flange there. And it's kind of like that, so it's going to go in and lock in place. You'll see exactly, when you're sitting here looking how I'm looking, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're just going to lift the bumper up just a hair. Don't force this. Make sure that you get it where it belongs. Okay. It will go in, it will lock. And then you won't have any more issues. This one's just a little bit ornery, but there we go. Okay, now I should be able to lift the hood. There we go. And I can pull protective tape off. And we're good. You can see that lines up pretty good. So now, we'll come over here and we'll get our fender washers. Now our fender washers are just the ones that are just a little bit smaller. If you look here, doesn't really matter, they'll both fit, but the ones that held the fender onto the bumper are the ones that got a little bit smaller flange on it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. So we got that done. Then we've got our light right here. We'll go ahead and we'll put that light back in. I'm going to go ahead and just wipe out the dust right here. Clean that all out. And we'll plug this in. And we'll snap that guy back in place. Just like that. Okay, so we are virtually done on this side. So we're going to go back and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then once I've got that completed, then we'll go ahead and we'll put our screws up on the top. We'll close the hood. We'll go back underneath the bottom of the car, put everything back together, and we'll be done. All right, guys. Now that we've got the fender tightened up, I went to the other side. I did the other fender, and then I tightened up the headlight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten up the headlights on this side. And as you saw, it's virtually impossible to see where I'm going with these screws and these bolts. But there is one on the outside edge, closer to the edge here. It's almost straight down from where I'm pointing. And you'll be able to feel it. Then up inside, about dead center of the headlight, there is that opening that you saw when I was tucking all the wires down in there. And that's where I'm reaching up into there. And I'm just fishing around until I find the stud that has no, with the threads with no nut on it. And I'm just going to go ahead and tighten that up by finger tight, which, to give you a perspective, it's about right here. Okay. Then there's one more that's up back this direction. Okay. And you're probably going to have to feel around for it. I just found it. And like I said, it's about right here. Okay. So once you get these going, then what you want to do is you just want to double check that you've got your light centered around this, where this gap is pretty much the same all the way around. Okay. That you can see your black gasket. Okay, now we've got that pretty well centered. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and we can tighten this up. So we'll tighten up the one that's closest here. Okay, and then we'll go up inside and we'll get the two up there. You can hear my ratchet tightening these, so it's just, you're gonna have to feel for them. Okay. And you want to tighten them, snug them up pretty good, because you don't want them coming loose, but yet you don't want to over tighten these that you break it, because it is in a plastic housing. If you tighten it up too much, you'll end up breaking it. That almost got it. All right, so our lights are in. So now let's go ahead and we'll put in our screws up at the top, get that all taken care of. So now we're going to go ahead and we'll put the screws on right up here at the top. You just want to make sure that you're putting them in the same spot. You'll be able to see that they fit on a certain spot on the paint. You'll be able to just line it back up same way. It shouldn't even really have moved. But just double check it as you're tightening them down. Okay, and that's all there is to that. We've got a couple more screws that we're going to put in up in the front, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around so you guys can see that. Alright, so we've got our two screws that we got to put here in the front of the bumper to hold the front cover on. Honestly, I don't think with all the other screws, I don't think this cover would ever come loose. But there are the two here. These are those 7 millimeters. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put those on. Okay. Alright, now we're gonna do the other side. And we'll be done on the top. Okay. One right here. And one right there. If you've done it right, all the holes will line up. All right, there we go. Now we'll get my box out of the way and we should be able to go ahead and close the hood. Now, do it slowly. Make sure that you know, that way you know all of your gaps are right, that you haven't hit anything. Okay, and it looks like it's pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lift the car up now. Alright guys, so we've got our wires right here, there's our connector that we had, the conversion connector. Then we also have our little diode, and we've got to get that. We're going to tuck that away. And all you're going to do with that is you're just going to stick it up there where it's not, you know, where it's not bouncing around, and it's got the two-sided stick tape on it. So you're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna peel and stick it. Okay. So I'm gonna pull the stick tape here. If you can see that, I'll try to get it out there so you can see it. But we're just gonna peel it up there and we're gonna stick it to the sub-assembly here. And then we'll take a wire tie and we're just gonna tie this up. And we can tie it right on to the existing harness that's already there for the side marker lights. So we can go ahead and tighten it up like that. You can see right there, just out of sight, okay? All right, so we'll cut that wire tie. And then at that point, we can go ahead, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut the, I had this thing pulled back. You can remember that. We're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go ahead and put this back on. Okay. So this just goes in here, tucks in behind. It's gonna tuck in behind this, like so. Okay. And it's gonna tuck around the brake tube. Okay, like that. And then we're gonna use those clips that we took out before, right, to put them back together. Okay, so got those clips right here. So you remember we only had a couple of clips going in like right here, and that'll hold it. Then at that point we can go ahead and we can put in our other clips, which was the ones that were in here before that had the snaps on them. But we can go ahead and put the clips in, just like that. Okay. So yours may not have that, like just to reiterate that, yours may not have it because your car may not have a bra on it. Okay. But you're going to have at least one clip there, and then you're going to have the 3 going across here, just like that. Okay, then we'll just push those in, like that. And we'll get our screwdriver, and we'll tighten these up. Okay, that fender well's put back together. Now we'll just have to go, I'm gonna go do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll get underneath the car and we'll put the rest of it back together. All right guys, now that we're under the car, we're gonna go ahead and put our two 10mm bolts in here and get those done. Okay, and then we'll do that on this side over here. All right. Okay, once we've got our 10mm screws in, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start. We'll go ahead and we'll put one right up in here. Okay, and we'll move on to the next one. I can see it. All right, I've got one right here. And we've got one right here. All right, and one right here. Alright guys, now we've just got our rubber trim pieces to put on. Our little air dams. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll get these started. So we've got a total of 3. This one goes out to the outside edge. Let's see if we can get that one started. Okay, and then we'll bring it over here. Now, if you guys don't have these anymore, then you don't have to worry about them. Now you notice I'm not tightening those up completely. I'm getting them started, and then I'll go ahead and I'll tighten them down. Okay, like that. Now, you remember these had the little clip in it. This one here, it's still here, so I can go ahead and I can just push it right through. Okay, and that's gonna hold it. If you don't have those, you can use a wire tie. If you have the little clips, you can use the clips. I'm gonna see if I can dig out one for the other side, but I'll do that off camera. But you want to make sure that, you know, nothing's flopping in the breeze. So we're going to go ahead and we'll get this other trim piece on. So we'll get that started over here. It's like so. Get it started. Okay, and then we can go ahead and go to the next one. And then one more. Okay. Alright, and now, like I said, I'm just going to get another clip, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll clip that up. But for all intents and purposes, guys, you're done. Okay, we've put everything back. We've got all our pieces in place. There's nothing going anywhere. It's all nice and tight. It fit really well. Now, like I said, there's one thing that was different on this, doing, you know, pulling this off rather than pulling the full bumper off, is because this splitter was actually riveted, and it was being held on up in the very front, so we were able to pull it out. So if you have a front splitter, you don't have to worry about it. You saw how I was able to just to bend it over and get it out of the way. So it's not a big deal, okay? So don't worry about it. If you didn't have the splitter, that bumper would have just basically just fallen off when we pried it loose from the top. So not really a big deal, but you know, just be aware of that, okay? So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. There's a lot more to taking a C6 nose apart than the C7 or the C8. It looks like General Motors is learning how to get the bumpers on and off much easier, but this isn't that hard. It's just there's a lot more fasteners involved. Okay, so anyway, that's about it. You're installed. So guys, hopefully you found this video helpful and informative, and when it comes time that you need to replace your lights or just simply upgrade them to the newer style light or a brighter style light, you'll know exactly where to go. You can go to Extreme Online Store. I'm going to put all of that information right there on the screen, or you can reach out to me and I'll put that information right here up on the screen, and I can get you a 5% discount. So either way you want to do it, but if you go through me, it helps support the channel, and I would really appreciate that. But like I said, you can go either place. So guys, again, we are growing. We're doing a great job, but I'd love to be able to see the channel grow that much more. So those of you that have already subscribed, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate that. Those of you that have not subscribed, maybe this is your first time watching, or you know, maybe you just don't get around to it. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, so I really wish you would do that for me. It really does help with the algorithms. It helps with the me being able to get more sponsors, to be able to do more videos, and it just kind of goes with the flow. So it really does help me, and you're supporting the channel by subscribing. So like I said, it doesn't cost a thing, so please do that if you wouldn't mind. Okay. I just want to thank you guys all for watching again today. We've got some more stuff coming up. Anyway, guys, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.
If you liked the video you just watched and like to see more, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe.
Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done.